Hi, thanks for jumping into the channel with me. Today we're going to talk about generating story ideas, and we're going to talk about a few ideas on how to generate ideas for your story. So the first idea that I want to propose to you is stealing like a bandit. Steal from other stories that you really enjoy. Do not plagiarize these stories, but you can look at these stories and figure out the things that you like and dislike about this story, and you can add those elements into a story of your own with your own characters. Or you can look at these stories that you really enjoy and you can ask yourself, what would happen if this character had made this decision instead of that decision? And then you can write that story. Or you can ask yourself, what would happen if, and then write that story. That's one way to generate story ideas for yourself. Steal from others. The most important idea about generating ideas is that you can draw inspiration from anywhere if you ask yourself the right questions. Okay, let's say you're looking at a painting and you want to draw inspiration for a story from a painting. I don't think that the inspiration itself comes from the painting. I think it comes from the questions you ask yourself when you see that painting. Maybe you want to write a story about the painter of the painting. Ask yourself questions that are interesting about the painter. Why would the painter have made this painting? What circumstances do you think the painter grew up in? Or maybe you want to go a different route. Maybe you want to write a story about the painting itself. So you ask yourself, what would happen if there's a secret message on the back of this painting? Or what if this painting is a forgery? These are interesting questions that can generate different ideas for you to write a story about. Sometimes it's really interesting to start with the characters themselves. Ask yourself questions about your characters that you have in mind. Maybe you construct a character and you figure out what position or situation it would be fun to stick these different characters in. Maybe you have a really cocky swordsman who thinks he's the best swordsman to have ever dueled in the world. And maybe you want to see your character humbled by an older sword master. That's an interesting situation for that character to be in. Maybe you have a really like a kind of dumb character and you want to devise a situation where this character is put in charge of leading a group. Ask yourself, what would need to happen for this character to suddenly be in charge? Is this character now the smartest character? What would need to have happened for this character to have become the smart one? These are questions that are really interesting that can inspire ideas for a story.